There's a certain weight to silence, like the way the air presses down just before a storm splits the sky. I've been feeling that weight for months now, a heaviness that sits on my chest as I lie awake at night, listening to the creak of our old house settling around me. My name's Rachel, and I'm 22, barely a year into a marriage that feels both like a lifeline and a tether. I live in a sleepy suburban corner of Ohio, where the streets are lined with identical bungalows, and the biggest excitement is the annual county fair. My husband, Ethan, is 28, a mechanic with hands that can coax life back into anything. Rusted engines, stubborn toasters, even fractured conversations. Or at least that's what I used to believe. He's a quiet man, intense in a way that's hard to pin down, like he's always carrying something just out of sight. His hazel eyes, sharp and searching, used to make me feel seen. Lately, though, they've been dodging mine, slipping away like shadows at dusk. Our marriage looks steady from the outside, the kind of life you'd expect for a young couple in a town like this. I work part-time at a diner on Main Street, pouring coffee for truckers and smiling through small talk, while Ethan spends his days under the hoods of cars at the local shop. But beneath the surface, there's a current, a tension I can't name, pulling at the edges of us. It's been growing these past few months, subtle at first, like a whisper you're not sure you heard. Then louder, more insistent. Ethan's been retreating, spending hours, sometimes until the early morning, in the old garage behind our house. It's a crumbling relic he inherited from his father, all splintered wood and peeling paint, with a rusted padlock on the door that looks older than both of us combined. He says he's working on projects, tinkering with spare parts, but I've stopped asking for details. His answers are always short, clipped, like he's measuring out just enough words to keep me at a distance. I've never been one to sit still. Not really. Even as a kid, I'd wander the fields beyond town, chasing the horizon like it held some secret I was meant to uncover. Now, at 22, that restlessness hasn't faded. It gnaws at me during the long, predictable hours at the diner, in the quiet evenings when Ethan's out back, and I'm left with nothing but the hum of the refrigerator for company. I want more than the routine, more than the safe, small life we've built. I just don't know what more looks like yet. This story, though, it starts on a humid Saturday morning in July, the kind of day where the air sticks to your skin and every breath feels like a chore. I'm in the kitchen, wiping down the counter for the third time just to have something to do, when Ethan comes through the back door, his boots leaving faint streaks of grease on the linoleum. His face is set, jaw tight, and there's a smudge of oil across his cheek that somehow makes him look more distant, like he's already halfway back to whatever's consuming him. He glances at me, just for a second, before muttering something about needing help in the garage. It's not a request, not really, more like a statement he expects me to follow. I hesitate, the damp rag still in my hand, but that restlessness in me stirs. Maybe this is a chance to close the gap between us, to understand what's been pulling him away. So I nod, drop the rag on the counter, and follow him out into the sticky heat of the morning. Stepping into the garage feels like crossing into another world, one that's been left to decay under the weight of time. The air hits me first, thick and heavy, laced with the sharp tang of motor oil, the metallic bite of rust, and the musty dampness of old wood. It's dim in here, the only light coming from a single bulb dangling from a frayed cord in the ceiling, casting long, jittery shadows across the space. The concrete floor beneath my sneakers is cracked, uneven, littered with car parts, rusted bolts, a dented fender, a tire with no tread left to give. Stacks of cardboard boxes, their edges soft and sagging, lean against the walls, and every surface seems coated in a fine layer of dust. Old tools hang crookedly on a pegboard, their handles worn smooth from years of use, and cobwebs drape like ghostly curtains in the corners. It's a mess, a forgotten chaos, and yet Ethan spends hours out here, night after night. I can't help but wonder what he sees in this place that I don't. I grab a broom from near the door and start sweeping, trying to clear some of the grime from the floor. The dust kicks up in little clouds, sticking to the sweat already beading on my skin. The heat in here is suffocating, pressing down on me like a physical weight, and I can feel a trickle of perspiration sliding down my spine, making my shirt cling uncomfortably. Over in the far corner, Ethan's up on a ladder, his back to me, focused on wiring up these small black security cameras. There are 3 of them, sleek and out of place in this rundown space, their lenses glinting like tiny, unblinking eyes. He's meticulous, adjusting each one with a kind of intensity I haven't seen in him for weeks, maybe months. His hands move with precision, tightening screws, angling the cameras just so, like he's building something far more important than a surveillance setup for a garage full of junk. I try to break the silence, my voice sounding too loud in the stifling air. I ask him why we even need cameras out here. What's so valuable in a place like this that it needs guarding? I'm hunched over, muscles straining as I drag a heavy box of engine parts across the cracked concrete floor of the garage, the weight of it pulling at my arms. The air is still thick, oppressive, like it's trying to suffocate me with every breath, and sweat drips down my forehead, stinging my eyes. I'm just about to heft the box onto a sagging shelf when I hear it. A slow, deliberate creak of the garage door swinging open behind me. My heart skips, and I straighten up, turning to see who's there. A tall, broad-shouldered figure steps into the dim light, his presence filling the space like a storm cloud rolling in. He's dressed in black jeans and a black hoodie, the hood pulled low so the shadows obscure half his face. I can't make out much, just the hard line of his jaw and the glint of dark eyes catching the faint glow of the overhead bulb. He speaks first, his voice deep and rough, like gravel underfoot. He says his name is Caleb, and that Ethan sent him to help with the cleanup. I blink, caught off guard, my hands still gripping the edge of the box. I glance over at Ethan, who's still perched on the ladder in the corner, fiddling with those eerie little cameras. He doesn't turn, doesn't say a word, doesn't even flinch at Caleb's arrival. It's like he knew this was coming, like he's been waiting for it, and that thought sends a shiver down my spine despite the heat. I look back at Caleb, trying to read him, but there's something about his presence that's both unnerving and magnetic. He's silent now, just standing there, watching me with those dark, piercing eyes that seem to see right through me. It's like he's peeling back layers I didn't even know I had, and I can't look away. He steps closer, his boots scuffing against the dusty floor, and offers to help with the box. I nod, not trusting my voice, and together we lift it onto the shelf. His movements are smooth, controlled, like he's holding back something powerful just beneath the surface. The tension in the air thickens, pressing against me as I bend down to grab another crate from the floor. That's when I feel it, his hand brushing against my shoulder. It's not accidental. It lingers, just a heartbeat too long, and I freeze, my breath catching in my throat. A jolt shoots through me, electric and sharp, something I know I shouldn't feel, something dangerous and wrong. My mind screams at me to step away, to put distance between us, but my body doesn't listen. Instead, I stay rooted there, feeling the heat of his touch sear into my skin. My heart is pounding now, a wild drumbeat in my chest, and I can feel the flush creeping up my cheeks, hot and undeniable. I know I should say something, break this moment before it spirals further, but I don't. I can't. Caleb shifts closer, so close I can feel the warmth of his breath against my neck as he murmurs something low about how stifling it is in here, how the heat is almost unbearable. His voice wraps around me, pulling me in, and I'm drowning in it, in the forbidden pull of him. The air between us crackles, charged with something I've been missing for too long, something I didn't even realize I was starving for until this very second. Then it happens. His hands find my waist, firm and deliberate, and I don't pull away. I should, I know I should, but instead, I let myself fall into the chaos of it all. What unfolds on that cold, gritty concrete floor is a storm of raw, reckless need. A collision of pent-up tension that I didn't even know I was carrying. It's quick, intense, a moment of surrender that leaves me breathless and trembling, caught in a haze of desire and guilt. I'm lost in it, in the heat and the weight of him, until my eyes catch something in the corner of the garage. That tiny red light on one of Ethan's cameras, blinking steadily, unyielding. A sick, icy realization washes over me, chilling the heat that still lingers on my skin. That unblinking red light, it's a silent witness, a cold judge in this crumbling garage. I'm alone now, Caleb having slipped out moments ago with a quiet nod, leaving me to face the aftermath of what just happened. My breath comes in ragged gasps, each one scraping against my throat as I try to steady myself. My hands are trembling, fingers twitching like they don't know what to do with themselves, and I can feel the stickiness of sweat clinging to my skin, a reminder of the intensity that just unfolded. There's a faint ache in my muscles, a dull throb that echoes the chaos of my thoughts, and I press my palms against the rough edge of a nearby workbench, trying to anchor myself in the here and now. I glance up at that camera again, its red light still glowing, steady and merciless. A wave of guilt crashes over me, heavy and suffocating. But there's something else there too. A flicker of defiance, a strange, twisted satisfaction. What happened felt necessary, like a fracture in the endless monotony of my days, a break in the routine that's been suffocating me for months. I loved the rush, the forbidden thrill of it, the way it made my heart race with something other than boredom or frustration. But I know there's a price for this. There always is. My mind churns with the weight of consequences I can't yet see, but I can feel them looming, dark and inevitable, just beyond the horizon of this moment. I push off the workbench, my legs unsteady beneath me, and start the slow walk back to the house. The gravel path crunches under my sneakers, each step a sharp, grating sound that cuts through the humid stillness of the afternoon. My mind is a storm, racing with excuses, justifications, anything I can cling to when, this all comes crashing down. Maybe I can say I was overwhelmed, that the heat got to me, that I wasn't thinking straight. But even as I rehearse the words in my head, they feel hollow, flimsy, like paper shields against a wildfire. I wipe my palms on my jeans, trying to erase the lingering sensation of touch, but it's no use. The memory is burned into me, vivid and unyielding, a secret I can't scrub away. As I near the house, my steps slow, a knot of dread tightening in my chest. I can see the front door now, slightly ajar, and just inside, there they are, my suitcase and a duffel bag, packed and waiting like silent accusations. My heart drops, a cold, heavy stone sinking to the pit of my stomach. I freeze for a moment, my breath catching, before I force myself to step closer. And then I see him. Ethan is standing in the hallway, his frame rigid, his face a mask of cold, unreadable fury. His hazel eyes, once so warm and searching, are now dark, shadowed with something I can't decipher. Hurt, anger, or maybe something deeper, something worse. His keys dangle from one hand, swaying slightly, the faint jingle cutting through the suffocating silence between us. I open my mouth to speak, to explain, to say anything that might bridge this chasm that's opened up, but my voice catches, trapped in my throat like a caged bird. The words I'd been rehearsing on the walkover dissolve into nothing, leaving me standing there, raw and exposed under his gaze. The tension is a physical thing, thick and heavy, pressing down on me until I feel like I can't breathe. Ethan doesn't say a word, doesn't move to close the distance. He just stares, his expression carved from stone, and then, without breaking eye contact, he steps past me. His shoulder brushes mine, a fleeting, cold contact, and he heads outside, his boots thudding against the porch steps with a deliberate, measured rhythm. I turn, confusion swirling in my chest, and follow him with my eyes. He's walking down the path, not toward the garage, not toward his truck, but toward the street, where a beat-up sedan sits parked under the shade of a sagging oak. I stand on the porch, my bare feet pressing against the weathered wood, the evening air thick with the kind of stillness that feels like it's holding its breath. My heart is still hammering from the sight of my bags packed and waiting inside, from the icy weight of Ethan's gaze that cut through me like a blade. I watch him now, his silhouette sharp against the fading light as he strides toward that beat-up sedan parked under the oak. It's Caleb's car. I know it without needing to ask. The dented hood and chipped paint, a dead giveaway. My stomach churns, a sick mix of dread and guilt twisting inside me, as I realize Ethan must know everything. That blinking red light on the camera wasn't just a silent witness. It was a betrayer, spilling my darkest moment into his hands. I grip the porch railing, the splintered edges biting into my palms, as Ethan stops beside the car. His movements are slow, almost too calm, like the quiet before a storm tears everything apart. I can't see his face from here, just the tense line of his shoulders, the way his hands flex at his sides like he's wrestling with something inside him. Then, he reaches into his jacket pocket, and my breath catches as he pulls out a small dented canister. Gasoline. My mind flashes to the garage, to the shelf where he keeps spare fuel for his tools, and I know he must have grabbed it on his way out. The realization hits me like a punch. Whatever he's about to do, it's not going to be small, not something I can undo with words or apologies. The sharp, acrid smell of fuel cuts through the evening air as he unscrews the cap and begins to pour it over the hood of Caleb's car. My stomach twists tighter, nausea rising in my throat as I watch the liquid spill out in a slow, deliberate stream. It glistens on the metal, catching the last golden rays of the setting sun, turning the scratched-up surface into something almost beautiful, like dark, rippling glass. Every splash feels like a hammer strike against my chest, each drop a countdown to something I can't stop. Ethan's movements are methodical, unhurried, as if he's been planning this for longer than I can fathom. He doesn't look at me, doesn't acknowledge my presence on the porch, and that silence is worse than any shout or accusation. It's like I've ceased to exist to him, like I'm already gone. My legs feel rooted to the spot, heavy and useless, as he steps back, shaking the last few drops from the canister before tossing it aside. It clatters against the pavement, a hollow, metallic sound that echoes in the stillness. Then, with a flick of his wrist, he pulls a matchbook from his pocket. My breath stops entirely, my fingers tightening on the railing until I'm sure it'll snap under the pressure. Time slows, stretching into an agonizing crawl as he strikes the match. The tiny flame flares to life, a pinpoint of light in the growing dusk, and for a split second, I see his face illuminated, his jaw set, his eyes hollow, a man I don't recognize anymore. He doesn't hesitate, doesn't flinch, just flicks the match toward the car. The flame catches instantly, a whoosh of sound and heat exploding outward as orange and red erupt across the hood. The fire roars, hungry and unstoppable, devouring the gasoline-soaked metal in seconds. I feel the wave of heat even from the porch, a searing breath that washes over my skin and makes me stagger back a step. The flames dance wildly, casting flickering shadows across the street, turning the oak tree's leaves into a trembling, fiery reflection. Smoke curls upward, thick and black, stinging my eyes and clogging my throat, but I can't look away. I'm paralyzed, my body refusing to move, my voice trapped somewhere deep inside me. I want to scream, to run down there and drag Ethan away from the inferno he's created, but I can't. I'm frozen, a spectator to the destruction of everything I thought I knew. Ethan stands there, unmoving, just a few feet from the blaze. The fire I'm sitting on the couch in our now empty house, the worn cushions sagging beneath me, feeling like they're swallowing me whole. The distant wail of fire truck sirens has finally faded into the night, leaving behind a silence so thick it presses against my ears. It's just me now, alone in this hollow shell of a home, surrounded by walls that once held laughter, arguments, and the quiet rhythm of a life I thought I understood. The air feels different, heavier somehow, like it's soaked with the weight of everything that's happened. I can still smell the faint trace of smoke drifting in through the cracked window, a bitter reminder of the chaos that unfolded just hours ago. My chest aches, not from the smoke, but from a void that's carved itself deep inside me, a cavern where something vital used to be. I glance toward the door, half expecting to see Ethan's boots sitting there, scuffed and muddy from a long day at the shop. But the spot is empty, just a bare patch of floor collecting dust. My eyes drift to the kitchen counter, searching for his coffee mug, the one with the chipped handle he refused to throw out because it was his dad's. It's gone too, probably packed away or shattered somewhere I'll never know. The absence of those little things, those pieces of him, hits harder than I expected. It's not just that he's not here, it's that every trace of him has been erased, like he was never part of this space at all. I wrap my arms around myself, trying to hold in whatever warmth I have left, but it's no use. The cold isn't just in the room, it's in me, seeping into my bones. I let my mind wander back to that moment with Caleb, to the reckless, consuming fire of it all. I don't regret it, not really. It was a burst of something raw, something alive, a pulse of life I didn't even realize I'd been starving for until it crashed over me. In that fleeting storm of need, I felt awake for the first time in months, maybe years. It was a taste of something I'd forgotten I could feel, a reminder that I'm more than just a shadow moving through routines. But the cost, oh, the cost. It's everything. My marriage, fractured beyond repair. This house, now just a hollow shell echoing with memories I can't escape. My sense of security, burned to ash alongside that car outside. I traded stability for a fleeting thrill, and now I'm left sifting through the wreckage, trying to figure out what's left of me. The aftermath is mundane, almost cruelly so, in its ordinariness. Earlier, the police came by, their voices clipped and professional as they asked me questions about the fire. I sat at the kitchen table, my hands wrapped around a glass of water I didn't drink, stumbling through answers about what I saw, what I knew. I didn't mention the camera, didn't dare breathe a word about what it might have captured. Their eyes lingered on me a little too long, like they could sense there was more to the story, but they didn't push. Not yet. I know there'll be more calls to make soon. Insurance agents droning on about claims and damages, forms to fill out, numbers to crunch. And the neighbors? I can already hear their whispers, carried on the evening breeze, their hushed tones as they piece together the scandal from behind their curtains. They saw the flames, saw Ethan standing there like a statue carved from rage, saw me frozen on the porch. They'll talk, and I'll have to face their sideways glances, their pity, their judgment. I don't know where Ethan went after the fire was doused, after the flames were tamed by the firefighters, after the crowd of onlookers dispersed. He just disappeared. He didn't look back, didn't say a word, just walked off into the night with that same hollow look in his eyes I saw when the match flared to life. I don't know if he'll ever come back, if there's anything left to salvage between us, or if he's gone for good. What I do know is that I'm alone. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.